And conservative radio host and political analyst Mike Slater in San Diego, California. Welcome to you both. Mike, to start with you, I want to pick up on what the president said earlier on Tuesday, that he found it somewhat amusing that many Republicans consider themselves to be strict interpreters of the Constitution until it comes to this point, and they're now saying he doesn't have the right, the legal right to go forward and appoint a successor to Antonin Scalia. How do you respond to that charge of, if you will, double speak?
Yeah, well, I think everyone's saying the president absolutely has the right with Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution to nominate someone, but by the same token, the Senate absolutely has the right to not confirm that person. The Senate has the right to advise and consent, not advise and rubber stamp. And if you go back to Reagan's last year in 1987, it was his third nominee, Kennedy, who actually got appointed by the Democratic Senate. Bork was shot down. The second person never quite even made it to a Senate vote, and it was the third person. The first two were very conservative. The third was more moderate. That's the point of checks and balances, especially when you have a split party like this. So this isn't this gridlock is not a bug of the Constitution. It's the feature of it. It's the point of it. And the president would do wise to appoint a more moderate justice so that maybe the Republicans would confirm him. And rightfully so, this has now become the most important issue in this election. The next president is going to nominate, and Marco Rubio said 2, now 3, maybe even 4 justices. This is incredibly important. And I would say, speaking as a conservative, if the Republicans do not hold strong on this and hold off and do not nominate the president's point, then they're not worth anything anymore. This is their job, to hold strong and at least hold the president to a moderate choice, but you are not there to rubber stamp the president's extreme nominations, which would just cement his progressive legacy even more for generations. So the Republicans need to stand strong on this. I don't think they'll be viewed as obstructionist by conservatives, and probably not even by moderates, if they're doing the right thing for the right reasons. I think they are.
What's going on here? Because this just seems to be a free-for-all right now.
Well, everyone's getting desperate here. That's what's going on. But I will contend that Trump is doing the best at this. He's always the best at this. Now, as Jeb sort of said, this isn't the skill set I think you need to be a good president, but Trump is by far the best campaigner. He's putting every other candidate in what I call a double bind. It's a darned if you do, darned if you don't moment. Jeb's a great example. From the beginning, Trump has called Jeb what? Low energy. So Jeb's in a double bind. If he stays low energy, he's going to lose. If he tries to get riled up and attack Trump, then Trump does what he did at the last debate that says, oh, look at tough guy Jeb over here. Tough guy Jeb acting like a big hotshot. So Jeb's like in this stuck position, like, what do? I don't know how to get out of this. And Trump's been able to put every candidate in this double bind, and I think that's why Trump will come out ahead in this.
Was this a good day, if you like, for Donald Trump to have the president kind of going after him like this?
Well, Trump's interesting, and his supporters are interesting, too. The more you go after Trump, the more the Trump supporters defend their support of Trump. So that'll only make Trump stronger. One thing that's interesting in South Carolina is they have open primaries. So you don't need to register with a party in order to vote for either of the two parties. And one of the most interesting things about the last debate is when Trump attacked George W. Bush for 9/11. And I was with about 50 other Republicans when that happened, and they viscerally were angry at that. They really were offended that Trump blamed W for 9/11. But what's interesting about that is it wasn't for Republicans, that comment, because the Trump supporters, like I said, are always going to support Trump no matter what he says. He even said that a couple weeks ago. Remember, he said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and people would still support me. And I think he's right.
Yeah.
That comment about 9/11 was for independents and maybe even some Democrats who don't like the Iraq War and who don't like W. They, in South Carolina, can vote in the Republican primary for Trump. I think he's just gaining support with comments like that.